welcome to another episode of the Car Girl Show. I'm Jessie Kessel, and this is my co-host, Janice Showers. And we have Kim MacPherson joining us today from Sell It Smart. She's going to be talking to us a little bit about people who are a little bit credit challenged. I'm not even familiar with what the right term is, so she'll touch a little bit on that. Kim, say hello.
Hi, everybody. So happy to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Great to talk to another woman in the car biz.
Yeah. So speaking about that, Kim, why don't you tell us and our audience a little bit more about you, how you got started, how long you've been in the industry, and what it is that you do today.
Sure. I started in 1996 selling cars at a Toyota dealership. Really because one of the sales managers I made an application for the job, and one of the sales managers was a little bit put off. I was a girl. There you go. So I made it my mission to get a job selling vehicles in a time when there were no selling vehicles. And fast forward to 2001, I was in a dealership looking for a promotion, trying to get into the finance office. It never happened. And a big gorilla event came to town and introduced me to the non-prime market. I had several customers at the time that I sold vehicles to that weren't getting approved, and I noticed there was a problem in this particular area. At that time, non-prime would have been around 10 or 15% of the market. Today, bad credit is 25% of the market, and 40% of customers today that are going into dealerships are getting their actual finance done through non-prime or less than perfect credit lenders. Obviously showing us that it's a much bigger problem. So what I've been doing since 2005, helping dealers set up and optimize their non-prime departments. And currently right now I'm in a franchise dealership in Newfoundland, and I'm going to start a session here with the sales team to talk about how to better qualify and identify their customers so that they can determine early on in the sales process if their customers have any challenges around credit or financing or questions. And we teach them to basically switch up the process and move that finance piece to the front part of the sales process, and then operate the sales process from there. So get the money first and then match the vehicle.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Which is very different from the usual sales process that's ingrained into salespeople, right?
Well, there's a lot of work that goes into selling a car, all those steps. Hate to get that low into the sales process and then find out we're on the wrong vehicle, we've got the wrong terms.
That's right. Essentially what's happening in a lot of franchise dealers in particular today is that customers are coming into the dealerships, they're purchasing vehicles the traditional way. We still have only taught our sales professionals one way of selling, and that's the traditional way: meet and greet, qualify, identify, or interview the customer, and then match them to a vehicle, get them emotional. But our customers are speaking a different language now, and a big part of what we do is just teach sales professionals to start listening to all the customers' challenges and concerns, one of which is vehicle. They want a vehicle that meets their needs, and most people want a vehicle that also meets any budget that salespeople should be respectful of. People want to be able to sometimes, for the most part, when it's introduced to customers, the concept of financing the vehicle ahead of vehicle selection is a welcome concept. It doesn't really have a whole lot to do with having bad credit. It has more to do with the convenience of being able to talk to the finance manager up front, make sure that you get your best conditions in place. Am I getting my best approval? Do I have the best rate? Do I have the best terms? Is the vehicle I'm about to look at a vehicle that actually meets my complete needs that include budget? Instead of the old school way of selling, which is, there's your car. Now that you're emotional about it, let me tell you what it's going to cost you. And when you don't like that, I'm going to bump you because I'm a good closer. I don't really fall that way.
Sure. Yeah.
Find out what your customer wants and service their need. It's pretty simple. Listen.
Yeah. And speaking, I'm heavy into marketing and advertising, as you know. What about handling the leads that come in and how to handle those leads instead of just walking customers coming in and following a certain process. How do you handle the leads that are coming in that might be facing the same challenges, right?
Yeah. A big part of this equation that I'm constantly teaching to sales professionals, this listening piece that they have to listen for when the customer is challenged by their credit concerns around that. That can come in a couple of forms. Most customers that have bad credit simply say, I'm not sure if I get approved. Some customers are prime and unsure, and it's not that easy. So to answer your question around online leads, is it really simplifies the process when you have a customer that's already online as presented as having credit challenges. Perfect. So we know that the last thing in this equation is me as a salesperson presenting a vehicle. My first initiative is to get the customer the money so they can purchase the vehicle. And that's the big game changer. So when approaching an online, in particular, credit lead, we have to approach that lead first with the conversation around, before we talk vehicles, let me first get you the money from the bank so you can purchase the vehicle. So I'm going to find out how much money the bank's going to loan us, at what interest rate and what terms, and then I'm going to match that money to a vehicle that meets your needs, any budget I need to be respectful of, and we'll go from there. Pretty simple.
Makes sense.
Are your dealers buying leads? What's the situation in the East Coast when it comes to buying leads, or are they creating these leads themselves online?
Well, we have this conversation a lot in training. Where do we get leads? How do we generate them? And I'm constantly saying, 40% of the market has less than perfect credit. The leads are there. Everyone is in the non-prime business across this country. It's just that we haven't taught a different way to sell. So when the customer is having finance questions, simply direct them to the finance office first. It's a real simple answer. Now, marketing be highly effective if, as a dealership, we get together and say, this will be our message to our it doesn't matter, East Coast, West Coast, Ontario. It's the same as across the country. Customers are customers, business is business, sales is sales. The only difference is that some dealers are deciding to really communicate with their clients and say, this is how we can help you. And I encourage a lot of dealers to just get away from the old hat talk around, if you have bad credit, come to our dealership so we can help you with your bad credit, versus conversation around like our brand message at Sell It Smart. And we also dealers promote marketing message, which is buy it smart. Know you're approved before you shop. We just help our dealers from a different angle and have a conversation up front before the customer gets to the dealership, simply so that when the customer walks through, or they can say, hey, I saw your ad. I would like to shop for a vehicle that way. I want to talk to your finance first. The leads are a good tool, but they don't close at a very high ratio. So any dealer that we're doing business with that is currently purchasing leads right now, and they have a place. Again, it's the easiest customer to manage in the non-prime world, because they've already identified it's having a credit issue. And we already know when we approach them, we need to get them their money in place first. The closing ratio on them isn't that great for a couple of reasons. One, the process, maybe the process isn't great at the dealership.
Great.
Yeah. Or it's party. So it's not a trusted resource necessarily for the customer to be putting their credit information to. So I always encourage dealers, buy some, generate your own, come up with your own message. Salespeople today should personal message.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
I love the idea of moving that up in the process, the business, the F&I office, because I do BDC, I make appointments. When I hear on the phone that we do have a customer with credit challenges, I would agree with you. All you have to do, Kim, is listen, and the customer does tell you that. And sometimes I get pushback from the dealership when I want to bring the customer in to meet with the F&I manager up front. And that's how I would present that, and even say to the customer, I understand what you're saying. You're concerned about your credit. Why don't you come in, have a face-to-face with the finance and insurance manager. We deal with 12 different lending institutions. Let's find out where you're at before we land you on a car. So absolutely, I'm familiar with that. But I don't know that dealerships have progressed with what you're saying into moving that piece up front. But I think that's where it belongs, and I think it can save both the customer and the salesperson a lot of time. You know, as somebody who spent 15 years on the floor, it's crushing to go through that whole process and land somebody on the car, and
just to find out,
you know, and have the business manager throw the docket on your desk and say, you know, it's not going to happen unless you have $5,000 down and the firstborn, and so love that idea. It's. Yeah. But I would say there's still pushback from the dealer. So, Kim, you're doing a great job educating them.
Go, Kim. So, if somebody watching would like to get in touch with you to get more information, how can they reach you?
Definitely LinkedIn. I don't know if you guys share that profile there. My LinkedIn profile is just MacPherson. Definitely my website, www.sellitsmartworkshops.com. And I think you can Facebook.
Awesome.
Just look up Kim. We'll have your information on the screen.
We'll get we'll have a subtitle there with a link to your website.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on our show and participating, offering some value. We'll let you get back to your training.
Yeah, have a great training session. Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
guys. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good afternoon. Bye, guys.
Bye. So that concludes our episode with Kim MacPherson from Sell It Smart, talking about some subprime solutions. If you like this video, make sure to like, share, and comment below. Until next time, take care.
Yeah, thank you.